The quarterback situation in Cleveland has felt like a storm cloud hanging over the franchise for months. National analysts have projected splash moves. Fans have debated veteran free agents. Draft experts have mocked quarterbacks to the Browns in nearly every early projection. But according to longtime Browns insider Mary Kay Cabot, the answer may not be found outside the building at all. Her recent comments suggest that the Cleveland Browns are increasingly comfortable with the idea that their next starting quarterback is already on the roster. And that belief reshapes the entire offseason narrative. When Cabot says she doesn't see a veteran clearly better than either Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, that's not just casual speculation. That's a signal. It implies that internally, Cleveland's evaluation may be far less panicked than the public discourse suggests. And that's where this becomes fascinating. For 2 seasons now, the Browns have been trapped in a complicated quarterback reality. Watson's fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million deal, still one of the most consequential contracts in league history, continues to define their financial structure. His arrival from the Houston Texans was meant to stabilize the franchise with elite-level quarterback play. Instead, injuries and off-field controversy have overshadowed much of his tenure. Multiple Achilles setbacks have raised legitimate durability concerns. The explosive, dual-threat version of Watson that once earned Pro Bowl recognition hasn't consistently appeared in Cleveland. Availability has been the biggest issue. Even when healthy enough to suit up, rhythm and continuity have been difficult to establish. At the same time, the Browns invested in youth. Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel both experienced the predictable turbulence of rookie quarterbacks adjusting to NFL speed and complexity. Flashes of arm talent, moments of hesitation, drives that looked like the future, series that looked like learning curves. Rookie quarterbacks are rarely linear in development. The question for Cleveland isn't whether Sanders struggled at times, it's whether the flashes outweigh the inconsistency. Cabot's comments suggest the organization believes they might. That's a critical distinction. When she dismisses the likelihood of adding someone like Malik Willis and expresses skepticism about whether Kyler Murray would provide a meaningful upgrade, she's not merely evaluating talent. She's evaluating value, cost, fit, continuity. The veteran quarterback market this offseason lacks obvious, clear-cut solutions. Most available names come with either age concerns, system fit questions, or injury histories of their own. Trading for a quarterback would require draft capital. Signing one would require cap maneuvering. Both options would signal dissatisfaction with internal development, and Cleveland may not be ready to send that signal. Financially, sticking with an in-house option provides flexibility. Watson's contract already occupies a massive portion of the cap structure. Adding another significant veteran salary would complicate roster construction. Drafting a quarterback early would mean resetting development timelines and potentially crowding an already complex quarterback room. From a front office standpoint, preserving draft capital while evaluating internal growth is rational, but rational doesn't always feel bold. The fan base has endured years of instability at the position. The hunger for a definitive answer is understandable. A splash signing creates excitement. A first-round quarterback generates hope. Rolling with what you already have feels less dramatic. Yet sometimes the most strategic move is patience. If the Browns genuinely believe Sanders can take a year-2 leap, that decision becomes less about avoiding change and more about trusting development. The same applies to Watson, albeit in a different context. If medical evaluations indicate improved health and mobility, Cleveland could view 2026 as a final proving ground before more drastic decisions are required. Watson's situation is particularly complex because of the financial commitment. Fully guaranteed money changes timelines. Releasing or moving on from him outright is not a simple football decision. It's a structural one. As long as he remains under contract, Cleveland has incentive to determine definitively whether he can reclaim high-level form. Meanwhile, Sanders represents upside without legacy baggage. He's young, he's inexpensive relative to veteran starters, he has shown playmaking instincts and confidence in high-pressure situations. The inconsistencies, decision speed, pocket discipline, processing against disguised coverages are coachable. Whether those traits accelerate in year 2 will likely determine Cleveland's direction. in 2027. There's also Dillon Gabriel, who, while less discussed publicly, remains part of the internal evaluation process. Teams rarely dismiss quarterback options lightly when depth and competition can sharpen development. What makes Cabot's timing notable is the calendar. Free agency's legal negotiating window opens soon. The draft sits just weeks away. If Cleveland were aggressively pursuing outside options, groundwork would already be visible through agent chatter and preliminary visits. Instead, reporting suggests relative calm. That calm speaks volumes. It indicates that the Browns may prioritize roster building around the quarterback position rather than replacing it outright, improving offensive line stability, reinforcing the receiver room, building a system that supports efficiency rather than demanding heroics. Quarterback success often correlates as much with environment as raw talent. Cleveland may believe its next step isn't changing the quarterback, but strengthening the ecosystem around whoever wins the job. Of course, this approach carries risk. If Watson's health falters again and Sanders fails to make the expected developmental jump, the Browns could enter 2027 facing the same questions, only with fewer premium draft positions available. Passing on this draft class could be scrutinized heavily if another team uncovers a star. That's the tension inherent in patience. But boldness for its own sake can be equally dangerous. The quarterback carousel has burned franchises before. Chasing upgrades without conviction leads to resets that never fully reset anything. By signaling belief in internal options, Cleveland is effectively betting on evaluation accuracy. They are trusting their scouting department's assessment of Sanders' trajectory. They are trusting medical projections on Watson's recovery. They are trusting coaching continuity to maximize both. It's not the loudest strategy, but it may be the most measured. The emotional response from fans will likely be mixed. After weeks of speculation, expectations of dramatic movement are high. A quiet offseason under center may feel anticlimactic. Yet within the building, clarity matters more than headlines. If the Browns truly see no external veteran who clearly surpasses what they already possess, forcing a move would contradict their internal grades. And good organizations align actions with evaluations, even when public pressure mounts. Ultimately, the 2026 season may function as an extended evaluation year. Watson's health, Sanders' progression, offensive system adjustments, locker room response. All of it will shape the franchise's next pivot point. For now, the message from one of Cleveland's most connected insiders is simple but significant. The replacement plan might not require a trade call or draft night surprise. It might already be standing in the quarterback room. And if that belief proves accurate, Cleveland's most important offseason decision won't be about acquisition. It will be about conviction.